How's it going, Vibe Tribe? My name is Parker, back with another reaction video. Today we got Napoleonic Wars, the Battle of Trafalgar, 1805. So I actually had asked for Navy documentaries after watching my last video, and y'all came through so fast. Y'all gave me recommendations almost, maybe not even half hour after it was out. I was already getting comments about this, so thank you very much. And I just wanted to say real quick, if you wouldn't mind, I am on my way to 1,000 subs, and I am almost halfway there. So if you are rooting for me and you want to see me get there, go ahead and hit that sub button. I would really appreciate it. Let's hop into the video.
Wasted at 9 a.m. in the morning, drunk when the sun comes up, now I'm lonely.
Alright, I'm super excited for this. I really want to see the Navy battle, and y'all said that this was Navy related, so y'all came through. Let's check it out, see how loud it is.
Napoleon Bonaparte kept the whole of Europe in fear for more than a decade. And although the Napoleonic Wars were predominantly a land conflict, many of his political and military decisions were informed by the dominance of the British fleet at sea, and the naval actions that were fought earlier in the war. Among them was the last great sea battle fought under sail, the Battle of Trafalgar. French victories at Marengo and Hohenlinden in 1800 forced Austria to sue for a separate peace, leaving the United Kingdom as the leading member of the Second Coalition. Napoleon's forces dominated on land, so the only way for the United Kingdom to continue the war was via naval actions. The British Navy was blockading France from receiving foreign goods, and in turn forced Prussia, Russia, Denmark and Sweden to ally against Britain to defend the trading routes. While the Russian Navy was in its winter harbours, the British attacked Copenhagen in 1801 and forced Denmark to leave the alliance. When the Russian Tsar Paul I died a month later, his heir, Alexander I, was more lenient towards the United Kingdom, and the anti-British Union ceased to exist. France had its share of problems. One of its colonies, Haiti, had revolted in 1791.
Yo, actually, I haven't seen any videos about this, but I have read about the Haiti slave revolt. I want to know more about it, so another segue. If you have any videos about this topic that you want me to watch, let me know in the comments.
Napoleon decided to send an expeditionary force to restore French rule over the island and its lucrative sugar industry in late 1801. The British fleet chased the expedition across the Atlantic Ocean. The island was blockaded and the French received no supplies or reinforcements. It was clear that neither side could strike the final blow, and a peace treaty was signed in March of 1802 at Amiens. The British promised to return the French colonies and leave Malta and Egypt, while Napoleon had to rescind control of Naples and the Papal States. For the first time in a decade, Europe was at peace. Napoleon sent a new expedition to Haiti, but it failed. Holding on to the colonies proved to be extremely difficult, so in April of 1803, the vast territory of Louisiana was sold to the United States. The Haitian expedition, and the fact that Napoleon was asserting control over Switzerland, was worrisome for the United Kingdom. On the other hand, the French demands for Britain to leave Malta and Egypt were left unheeded. Napoleon started preparing a new force at Boulogne to invade the British Isles, but it was the United Kingdom who declared the war that would be later known as the War of the Third Coalition in May of 1803.
Man, I'm so blank on this time frame. Like, normally I'd be having a lot to add with history, but I feel like if it's before 1850, then I'd get kind of fuzzy on it. So I'm glad I'm learning about these now.
Napoleon was not expecting the renewal of hostilities, and his fleet was scattered across various harbours, with 21 ships of the line in Brest, 12 in Toulon, and 9 more in the Atlantic. The superior British Navy blockaded both ports. Napoleon developed a plan in the summer of 1804. One of his fleets needed to break the blockade, move into the open sea, then attack the part of the English navy blockading another harbour and unite with the portion of the French fleet stationed there. That would have allowed the French to get the army at Boulogne across the English Channel. The situation changed for the better for the French in October when the British sunk some Spanish vessels. This provoked Spain to declare war on the United Kingdom and ally itself to France in December. Napoleon now had the numbers to implement his plan.
Wow. God, European political games are always so complicated. So many different sides just kind of influencing the same situations. It's hard to keep track of them. I'm trying my best.
In late March of 1805, the French commander at Toulon, Vice Admiral Pierre Villeneuve, ordered his fleet to sail out. He managed to evade the loose blockade set by British commander Vice Admiral Horatio Nelson. It seems that the British commanders were sure that Napoleon would try to land a force in Italy, so the majority of Nelson's vessels were around Sardinia.
So did they not have, if the British Navy was superior, why didn't they have anything blockading the Strait of Gibraltar right here? Like, I feel like that's just the most important spot if you have the best Navy. Maybe it was too close to Spain's homeland, and they couldn't defend that kind of position, but I don't know. If y'all know why there was no blockade there, let me know.
However, Villeneuve was implementing Napoleon's plan. He passed the Straits of Gibraltar in early April, was joined by some Spanish ships, and continued towards the Caribbean.
Okay, so I guess he kind of answered it. I guess Spain still had control of that area.
Nelson got this intelligence only in late April and started his pursuit across the Atlantic. The French arrived at the Caribbean Sea Basin in May and captured a few British outposts.
Oh, man.
Nelson reached the area in June, but was still one step behind Villeneuve. Despite that, the French weren't able to inflict much damage to the local British colonies and started moving back to Europe, arriving in the second half of July. A smaller British fleet under Vice Admiral Calder was ordered to stop Villeneuve, but the subsequent battle near Cape Finisterre was indecisive. Still, this encounter prevented the French from reaching Brest to lift the blockade, and they returned to Cadiz. At the same time, Austria and Russia joined the Third Coalition, and Napoleon had to march his army stationed in Boulogne to the east, which meant that the invasion of the British Isles was postponed. Nelson was appointed the overall commander of the Royal Navy, and as the allied French-Spanish Armada concentrated in Cadiz, he sent the majority of his fleet off the coast of France to block Villeneuve. By the end of September, he joined the fleet personally. Villeneuve received an order from Napoleon to move towards Italy, but ignored it. On the 18th of October, the French commander received a new order to stay in Cadiz and wait for his replacement. Once again, the order was neglected, and the Allied fleet went to sea on the 20th. On the 21st, Villeneuve's navy was getting close to the Straits of Gibraltar.
Ooh.
Nelson allowed the French to move as far away from Cadiz as possible to prevent them from retreating. However, by dawn the British vessels
So is this the battle? The Battle of Trafalgar?
were detected. Villeneuve didn't expect Nelson's navy to be so strong, so he ordered his ships back to the harbour. This manoeuvre failed due to lack of training, and the Allied fleet ended up with an incoherent line. The usual tactic of the age was to approach a foe and enter a shooting match, so the fate of the battle was decided by the quality of the ships, crew training, and sheer luck. Instead, Nelson divided his fleet into two halves to attack the Allies broadside.
Ooh.
He was personally leading.
Oh, it's about to kick off. So how many is this? France and the coalition versus
the
Britain
Northern
here?
Group that had 13 ships of the line, with his flagship Victory in front, while Vice Admiral Collingwood's squadron of 14 ships of the line was to the south, led by the flagship Royal Sovereign. By midday, the distance between the two navies was just 5 kilometers. They were off the coast of Cape Trafalgar, and Nelson issued his famous order.
So I've never been in an experience to where I would be able to answer this on my own. Can you see 2.5 or 5 kilometers? I think you said. Can you see 5 kilometers like on the ocean? Could they see each other at that point, or is that still a little too far?
England expects that every man will do his duty.
Oh,
Royal Sovereign
yeah.
was recently repaired and was faster than most ships, so the wind moved it dangerously close to the enemy line, while the other ships in the squadron were lagging behind. At 12:20, Royal Sovereign fired the first volley upon Santa Ana and Forgo, and these vessels shot back. Collingwood's flagship was attacked by 4 enemy ships. Only 15 minutes later, Belle-Île arrived and covered the right board of Royal Sovereign.
Oh man.
More English vessels moved into the fray and tried to cut
They're all just lining up. Good guy, bad guy, just shooting both ways.
the Allied line, but
That's
Collingwood
crazy.
was outnumbered at the initial point of contact. Still, the positioning of the Allied Navy didn't allow its second-line ships to assist, and by 1400, the majority of the first-line vessels were either sunk or surrendered.
Man, so the British just kind of surrounded each one. Like they got 2 in the middle, then an enemy, then one of theirs, then an enemy, then one of theirs, and they got those 2 surrounded. They completely surrounded these 2 down here. They had 2. Wow.
To the north, Nelson's squadron got close to the enemy line by 12:20, but the wind was calming, and that made Nelson's ships a very slow target. His refusal to fight using traditional line tactics was detrimental at this point of the battle, as none of his ships were able to shoot, while the enemy was sending volley after volley.
Yeah.
Despite casualties, the flagship Victory was moving forward. Nelson ordered a fake maneuver to make the enemy think that his ships would form up in a line, but instead he then ordered one more turn, and Victory ended up between the French flagship Boquenteur and the smaller Redoutable. This allowed Nelson's ship to use the guns on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, if they're all lined up, if they don't shoot out the side and they're all lined up straight and narrow, and you get in between to where you're in front of one ship behind another, I guess they really can't do much, can they?
French ships needed to turn, and Victory used that to take Boquenteur out of the game.
Ooh.
However, Victory itself was taking massive damage from Redoutable.
Yeah.
The French ship was also using sharpshooters, and at 13:15, one of their shots wounded Nelson. It was clear that this wound was deadly. Redoutable's crew attempted to board Victory, but the British managed to stop them. Victory was soon reinforced by Temeraire, which moved across Redoutable's left board and started shooting. And by 14:20, Redoutable was captured by the crew of Temeraire. To the north, British Neptune entered into a battle with Spanish Santísima Trinidad and managed to take it out of the fight. By 1400, it was becoming clear for Villeneuve that he was losing the battle, and he ordered the northern portion of his line to move to the southwest and collapse on the British fleet. However, the captains of these ships failed to see the signal, and this became the final mistake of the Allied fleet. Villeneuve's Boquenteur was in no shape to continue fighting, and soon he surrendered. By the time the remaining 10 Allied ships started their move to assist, most of the vessels in the center were either sunk or captured. Collingwood took overall command of the British Navy and ordered Nelson's squadron to intercept the French reinforcements. The remaining Allied ships decided to retreat. It was a complete victory, with the British capturing 18 enemy ships.
Ooh.
Nelson passed away as soon as he heard the news of the victory.
Alright, show off. I'm not gonna die until I know we won.
The French defeat at Trafalgar confirmed the naval dominance of the United Kingdom, and meant that Napoleon would not be able to invade Britain. But while the battle was raging at sea, the Emperor's Grand Army was moving into Germany against the Allied Austrian and Russian armies. Thank you for watching our video on the Battle of Trafalgar. The second video in this series that will cover the Battle of Austerlitz will be released in 2 weeks.
Okay, Alright, that was exactly what I was looking for. Just seeing the formations and how they lined up and how it actually, played out, how it shaped up. That was really cool. Yeah, so he mentioned the Haitian Revolution in there. I'm still kind of interested in learning about that. So if you have any videos on that, let me know. I know that what I know about it is basically that it worked. It ended up working. The slaves ended up revolting, I think. And I remember hearing that, you know, a lot of the people that came over to try to enforce it ended up getting like different diseases that they weren't used to whenever they came over to North America. So I don't know much more past that, so I'm trying to learn about it. If you know any good videos about the Haitian Revolution or any more good Navy videos, and I still have a couple more suggestions on my other video, the one I posted right before this one yesterday. So if you have any Navy videos you want to add, you can comment them on this one or that one, doesn't matter. Just let me know and I will get around to them eventually. Alright, thank y'all for watching. Love y'all. Vibes never die.
All we got is a bag in the backseat. And it's love we share, not shabby at all. But the fact is we moving too fast, but the thought